Hi, this is Chart Gal Lori bringing you the Fab4 futures, and we will be going over platinum one more time tonight. Let's get started from strongest to weakest. So RTY was the strongest today, then the Dow, then ES, and then Nasdaq futures, and then we'll go over platinum and how that setup played out and what more follow through or continuation are we looking for there. Okay, let's get started with RTY. RTY, it had a wonderful day. Nice and green, and notable that this is happening on increasing bull volume. So this isn't just floating up on minuscule volume. It actually is making a statement. So on the 4 hour, we got overbought. We pulled back. We wicked down to that 26 EMA and then pulled back up, and we got that nice hammer, lower wick of buying of the dip, and again on increasing bull volume. Right now, we have this high at 1442.80, and that's close enough that I'd still call it a triple top. We're just within a couple dollars, so bulls will be opening up here shortly, and they'll be looking to get over that level. And then their next true resistance isn't until 1500 and then 1548. So nice job, bulls on RTY. Dailies approaching overbought. 4 hour is cooled off slightly, hourly's cooled off, so they're keeping themselves pretty right as rain as far as the RSI, cooling it off as they walk it up. But this has been more of a walk up on that V-shaped pattern. That was a nice bounce. And again, we discussed last night the TTM squeeze that fired long, and that is just that squeezing, that compression of the Bollinger Band and Keltner channels, squeezing and getting tighter and then opening up. And where price is in relation to the Bollinger Band typically indicates where price is going to go if the volatility expands. Let me show you that. So here, when we're squeezing, so we're squeezing on these five red dots. So we have, this is just the Bollinger Band. And if we were to show you the Keltner channel, it's within that. So that's major compression. Then once we get that curl in the Bollinger Band, if price is closest to the upper Bollinger Band, we typically see follow through to the upside. And if price is very close to the bottom of the Bollinger Band or the bottom side, then we see price go to the downside. So in this case, we had a nice clue because price was hugging the upper Bollinger Band that when this fired positive, that it would just slide up that upper Bollinger Band. So I hope that helps with the TTM squeeze and how we use it. All right, YM on the daily. Nice, beautiful, increasing bull volume. So this is increasing, and we had, increasing bull volume, and we had YM fire long today. BA had a fabulous day, of course, and that really helped push YM into those nice ranges, that nice volume push. And when we hit the 12 EMA, and the bulls bought that dip here, and they bought it with big volume. So your next resistance on YM is 27075. So let's look at it on the weekly. We still have that 50 MA looming overhead, but as long as the bulls keep cutting through levels and resistances like butter, I'm not going to worry about these simple moving averages. If price pauses at those levels, then we'll start factoring them in. But until then, it's just buybacks, pullbacks are for buying at the moment. So we had increasing bull volume today on SPY as well, and we got that green dot that fired long, the TTM squeeze. On the 4 hour, we broke this high a little bit more convincingly. We broke that resistance of 3035. We broke it at 303950, and your next resistance is up at 3100 and then 3137. And your support is at 290375. So volume is the prove it factor. So this isn't just a float up. This is actually a push up on volume with interest in buying. Why is Nasdaq leading, the laggard today when Nasdaq has been our leader? Let's look at the relative rotation graph. I just want to show y'all that this is 5 weeks. So the relative rotation graph has 4 quadrants: improving, leading, lagging, and weakening. And it shows that XLE, for example, over the last 5 weeks has moved from the lagging quadrant to the improving quadrant. And it shows that XLP, the consumer staples that's been a leader during the COVID crisis, moved from the leading quadrant down into the weakening quadrant. And so that's what we see XLK. Let me just kind of zoom in for you. XLK, this is the 5-week tail of where it was 5 weeks ago and where it moves along the axis of this tail. And as you can see, we're right on the cusp of moving into the weakening quadrant of the relative rotation graph, XLK, which is technology. So just something, let's just look at XLK real quick so you can just know its components. So NVDA, it had a nice bounce today. PayPal, Cisco, KLAC, Microsoft, Adobe, all of these larger names are in XLK. So when they have weaker days, they bring down XLK. And XLK has been the wind beneath our wings in this big push up. So just something to note, because everything's moving all the time within this relative rotation graph, and we want to make sure that we're in the green or in the blue sectors when we're choosing individual names. We want to be in this sector or this sector where we're, as if we're trading long, and if we're trading short, we want to be looking at the lagging and weakening quadrant. So just something to keep in mind of what's going on with Nasdaq, and Nasdaq is so close to that all-time high of 9763. Increasing daily bull volume today. We got that lower wick. They bought the dip and then the lower wick buying of the dip. So we have the resistance at 9604. And then after that, we have no resistance until 9763. It'll be interesting to see if the bulls can pull this off going into the end of the month. So on the 4-hour, we lost our higher highs and higher lows. So the most likely scenario on Nasdaq is we would top out somewhere here in at around 95.08 and get a lower low and then EQ out, get a little equilibrium going because of the size of this range. This is 95.08 until 91.72. This is 300 points. Odds favor that we would top out somewhere in this area before we reach that high and then pull back. And then how far we pull back would be determined by the bears and the bear volume. But just watch for potential EQ in NASDAQ, and maybe it could impact these other three sectors. We shall see. And finally, platinum. So we discussed platinum yesterday. We have this equilibrium pattern forming in platinum, high of 943. Higher low at 84690, lower high at 867, and we're establishing that higher low at 86073. We discussed this last night in this area, and it had a nice bounce. It had a nice bounce today, and then an hourly higher high. Now we need that hourly higher low. So if you were looking to play platinum, you would want it to pull. That's a big alliteration. Platinum, pull, play, pull back. Blah, blah, blah. Have it pull back into this area to buy a higher low on the 4-hour or on the hourly and look for a resumption upwards for the trend. We are struggling with the 50 MA, which is the yellow line. So on the hourly, let me say that one more time. We're looking for a higher low on the hourly. Where we stop, nobody knows. And then wait for that hourly higher low to be established for then to get into the upward potential trend. So what we're trying to do on the daily, the bigger picture, is we're trying to snag the daily higher low in this EQ. So if the EQ were to continue to tighten, we would have a position down here, looking for a potential bull break. All right, that's it for me and Fab4 Futures. I hope you have a wonderful evening.